I think for about 10 seconds, we thought we were getting Derek Jeter in MLB The Show 21. We had our first reveal trailer at the end of the SDS stream. We found out we got Mr. Alfonso Soriano, and I'll tell you what, SDS trolled us. They zoomed in on the 2 on his jersey, straight up tried to convince us we were getting Derek Jeter. Credit to them, but I'll tell you what, I'm a little upset. I really want Jeter, okay? Don't tease me, please. And I've seen a lot of people on Twitter today, especially, talking about if Jeter was in MLB The Show. Would he be good? Would he be bad? Is he going to be a terrible fielder? Is he not going to have enough power? I think if we got Derek Jeter, he would be one of the better cards in the game. Maybe not the best shortstop, but one of the best shortstops that people would be using in MLB The Show. I'm going to try to convince you. I'm going to compare players that we have in the game to Derek Jeter. We're going to try to see how he would potentially look if we got him in MLB The Show. Let's get right into it. What is going on, YouTube? Appreciate you all stopping by. Obviously, we have a different kind of video today. If you guys enjoy this kind of video, you want to see me come up with different ratings and stuff for cards, make sure you give me a thumbs up on this video if you enjoyed it. Also, hit that subscribe button. We're on our way to 2,000 subs, crawling towards MLB The Show 21. So if you're trying to go no money spent, if you're trying to get better at MLB The Show, whether you're a new player or a returning player, hit that subscribe button. We'll be doing a ton of tips off the rip on MLB 21. If you want to get better, this is going to be the place to be. Oh yeah, by the way, I do stream on Twitch 3-4 times a week. Check out that link down there if you haven't already. And without further ado, let's get right into it. Let's talk about Mr. Derek Jeter. And before I get into this, first of all, I'm a Yankee fan. I don't want any bias. So we're trying to use in-game attributes and real-life baseball stats to make an argument here. I am a Yankee fan. You may think I have bias. I'm going to try my best to not put that in here at all. Also, when I was doing this and putting this together, I realized there were some inconsistencies with the attributes. At least I felt that way. So these numbers aren't going to be exact numbers. A lot of them are just going to be a range of numbers. It could be a range of like 10 rating attribute points for a lot of these attributes because there are some weird inconsistencies. I don't know how they do it exactly at SDS. And this is just me taking the most educated guesses possible. Let's first talk about this. There are 3 main series of cards for Legends: Award Series, Signature Series, and Prime. And usually a Legend gets one of those 3, depending on the kind of player they were in their career, the kind of stats that they had throughout their career, or how many awards they had. So which of these 3 cards would Mr. Derek Jeter get? And obviously he won a ton of awards throughout his career. So we would like to guess he would get an Award Series card for one of his Gold Glove, whether you think he deserved it or not, or his Silver Slugger years, or even his Rookie of the Year that he won. He could get one of those 3 Award Series cards, or he can get a Signature Series card. Some players who won awards before just got Signature Series instead, just to try to get their entire career of stats, instead of just that 1 year like an Award Series card. One of the examples we're going to talk about today, Ryne Sandberg, actually had a couple awards in his career, but got a Signature Series card because he had some years where he didn't win awards, but he hit like for a lot more power. So they were able to give this card a little bit more power than another version. Let's talk about that with Mr. Jeter. First, let's start off with the Signature Series. I think, like Mr. Sandberg, that Jeter's card as a Signature Series would be the most well-rounded. Before we go into the specific, I put together a little card design. These, again, like I said, I just chose random numbers within a range. A lot of these could be different, but this is just a good visual representation of the card and what it could look like. And you look at the attributes, and honestly, he's very comparable to that 98 Hanley Ramirez that we have. If Jeter has some sort of glitchy swing, this card could probably be super fun. I think this card is more than a viable option at shortstop, despite the potentially low defense. But let's talk about the specific attributes. Contact, let's get going with that. I think he'd have 115 to 125. I compared him to Craig Biggio and Ryne Sandberg, and Jeter out-hit them career average-wise, and they had about 100 to 110 contact, and he outperformed them by a significant portion. Also, Jeter hit about 350 a couple times. So I think it's safe to say he would have close to 125 contact. I think he would be good versus both sides, potentially a little better with lefties. Now let's talk about power. You compare him to especially Ryne Sandberg and Craig Biggio. I think he fits right in that range. But Craig Biggio has about 80 power, and Ryne Sandberg has about 85 to 90 in that range. Ryne Sandberg's peak, obviously he hit 40 homers, but the key with power isn't the homers, it's slugging percentage. I'm like really sure that they use slugging percentage as a determinant of power, not just homers. That's why guys like Ty Cobb, for example, who didn't hit many homers, has 90 power. So obviously Jeter didn't slug as much as, say, Ty Cobb or even Ryan Sandberg. But depending on how they do the specific splits, especially if they do a signature series card and you look at 1998, I think the year was, he slugged like 550 that year versus lefties, which I think was actually very close to Ryan Sandberg, if not maybe even better at some point. So depending on how they scale this card, he could either have close to 90 power, or he could more realistically have about mid 80s, low 80s, or he can even have less than Craig Biggio. I don't necessarily know, but this is the range he falls in. Didn't hit that many homers, but he was a nice extra base hit guy. Fielding, this is the big question here. You look at his career. I did a side-by-side to Signature Series Hanley Ramirez, so I wanted to keep it between Signature Series and in the same position. And Hanley Ramirez was not a good fielder at shortstop by any means. And you look at the career, the defensive run saves are in a similar kind of pattern to Jeter. Both not good at all, but Jeter at points in his career had gotten a little better. Not good by any means, but a little better. And the numbers are probably somewhat similar, at least in defensive run saves. Depending if they really count the good years or not, he could probably have a little better or a little worse. But low 70s is definitely where I think he belongs. They could maybe boost him up to a gold if they really tried, but I really think this would be where he would be, like low silver fielding, which, I mean, I've tried that Hanley before. It's doable out there. And finally, arm strength. He's going to have good arm strength. He had a great arm throughout his entire career. And speed and stealing, probably about 70 to 80 speed, 70 to 85 stealing. So 70 to 80 speed is fine enough at shortstop. And at points of his career, he was a pretty good runner. So I'd say he'd have about like 80 stealing. So this is what his card would look like based on comparing to other signature series and shortstops in the game to try to get a good gauge of what he would look like. If you think anything is wrong and you would strongly disagree with any of my opinions, feel free to leave in a comment down below, by the way, because I think it's a fun discussion. All right, so now let's go into award series. So Jeter's award, I would probably think would be his Gold Glove or Silver Slugger year in 2006. I don't know which one they would decide. Probably Silver Slugger, because obviously Jeter wasn't a good fielder. But they could just troll us and give us a Gold Glove card. That would honestly be hilarious. He hit 390 batting average versus lefties. To compare against another legend, Willie Mays hit 349 versus righties in 1954, and he had 125 contact. So we'll give Jeter 125 contact because he hit a higher batting average in that versus lefties. Versus righties, he hit 328. Barry Larkin hit 327, which is very, very similar to Jeter, and he has 113 contact. We'll give Jeter 113 contact versus righties. Slugging percentage, I tried to look into comparisons like the award series Andrew Jones and the award series Roberto Alomar. They both have 77 power. And I was looking at the low 80s, high 70s, because I personally was just taking a guess at where he would lie. Andrew Jones and Roberto Alomar both have 77 power versus one side. So you would think if they had the same power, they probably slugged the very similar amount to each other. Andrew Jones slugged 448. Roberto Alomar slugged 545 versus lefties. So like that is a 100-point range, and they have the same exact power. And Derek Jeter is right in between that. And I could probably keep on searching and find some more inconsistencies. Or just go out on a limb and say he'll have about high 70s power, because that's the range he'd probably fit in. High 70s, low 80s versus lefties, and 75 to 80 versus righties. That's my most educated guess. Really do not know though, because again, this is an inconsistency. Fielding, I would think he has 70, a little worse than his signature series. He had a negative 16 defensive run saved this year. I try to compare to other shortstops who were award series. Trevor Story had 1 defensive run save and he has 80 fielding, so obviously he's not close to that. No other award series shortstop really has fielding stats close to this. I went elsewhere. I looked at Daniel Murphy. He has an award series card, and that year for his award series card, he had negative 14 defensive run saves at second base. Derek Jeter had negative 16 defensive run saves at shortstop. And Murphy had 71 fielding, so I'm going to guess that he has something very, very close to that, like 70. So we'll just go out and say he has 70 since he did a little worse than Murphy. Other than that, I think they're going to be relatively similar to his other card. Pretty straightforward in my opinion. So these are my most educated guesses on 2 kinds of cards that we would get with Jeter. I think a signature series Jeter would be the best if they were to go about it this way. Just because I think Jeter had one of those careers where he built up and accrued numbers for being a consistently good hitter. He consistently hit above 300. He wasn't a big power hitter. He wasn't anyone who just did anything outrageous, especially out in the field. But he had fluctuated and gotten a little better at points in fielding. He had some years where he had a little bit more power. But overall, that contact, which is really what separates him, is going to be good no matter what year. And nitpicking a year is going to be annoying to do for an award series, especially with all those Gold Glove years. So personally, I think he would be better off as a SIG series. He's very well-rounded, and I think this would be a very good shortstop. Obviously, we get a guy like Alex Rodriguez. If we have a situation this year and we get like another boosted Tatis and other shortstops, they'll probably be better, but I think Jeter would still be a top couple shortstop. Obviously, the bat is there. Defense, definitely not the best. You take that risk, but you know, maybe he has a glitchy swing. Maybe Derek Jeter's hits nukes and we just don't know about it. Also, we could just have a situation like MLB 19 where contact players apparently just like gods. But yeah, that's gonna be it. What do you guys think? Which card would you like of these two? If you have enjoyed, make sure to hit that like button, and I will see you guys again in another video this week or next week. Deuces.